I'm going to start with a very brief introduction. I'm Aisha Dinshaw, the Loss and Damage Program Officer at CJRF. So welcome to CJRF Solution Series, which is an opportunity for our partners to share their work and for all of us to learn about what they're doing and more broadly learn about how climate resilience is built and strengthened, especially through the efforts of communities who are at the front lines of climate change. This is a chance for us to learn what is happening with our partners in their projects and build cohesion across the community. Today, we're going to hear from an organization called Young Power in Social Action, or YPSA, and YPSA is based in southeastern Bangladesh. YPSA is an organization that supports capacity building efforts for people who've been displaced by climate change, and they take a very community-oriented household-by-household approach, which helps families relocate, claim their rights, and secure their livelihoods. I'm going to hand over to Shah Jahan from YPSA. Shah Jahan, the floor is yours. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Aisha. And welcome you all to the presentation. So I think you are now seeing my slide.
Yes.
So, as mentioned by Aisha, my organization, the Young Power in Social Action, you can find more detail about my organization in our website, www.ipsa.org, and it is very much updated. So, for more information, I request to log in to our website. So today, as part of the solution series today, I am going to work we are implementing of the Climate Justice Resilience Fund 2019. The project name is addressing the rights and needs of climate for displaced people in the southeastern coast of Bangladesh. So the project is located in the southeastern part of Bangladesh, extreme southeastern part. You can see in the map. We are working in basically in two sub-districts locally, which is called the Upazila, namely the Bashkhali under the Chattogram district and the Kutubdi Island under the Cox's Bazar district. We are working in two districts. And what is our objective? There is three major objectives working broadly to address the loss and damage and to build the resilience among the people already been displaced, and those are very much rich in the future displacement. We are trying to protect them from this hazard. So this three objective is that build the capacity of the climate for displaced people and the community youth, so that they can claim their rights from the relevant authority as well as to secure their livelihood. And second option is to do the advocacy with the relevant stakeholder for the rights-based solution to the climate for displaced people. This includes the local and the national level government and the local elected bodies. And finally, we are doing some model work as a durable solution to provide them shelter with the basic facilities who are already been displaced as a result of the climate change. We are broadly working with different stakeholders. Especially climate-induced displaced communities is our main target population. And secondly, local community people. We are also involved in local community to find the solution. Youth population is one of our working as a change agent. Local government elected representative is our stakeholder, and officials of the local Upazila administration, Upazila means sub-district administration, they are our stakeholder. We are working in the supply side with them. Besides this, we are also involving with this process with the government policymaker, member of parliament, government officials, researchers, academicians, journalists, representative of the civil society organization. So this is majorly focus to highlight the focus work and the focus target population. As you all know that due to the exposure of this climatic event, this has been happening in Bangladesh. So far, identified the 26 hotspot where regularly displacement happening. So when displacement is happened, when people are failed to adapt to the changing situation, and that time actually they are displaced. And after displaced, there are two things can happen. One is they migrate, and another, a portion of people remain behind of the origin. We have observed that through our experience, we have think that those have the kinship, network, and alternative as scope. They are migrating after displacement. They are migrating in the nearby Upajala. They are migrating to city area, urban area, etc. But some people, those have done poor kinship, those have the poor kinship, poor network, and they want to move far area, remaining behind, particularly the woman-headed family, they are living behind in that. We are calling them trapped people. If you see the in the arrow in the bottom, we highlighted them as the trapped people because after displaced, as due to the slow onset, southern onset event, they have been, they are displaced and they have lost all things, including the land, property, and land, including the homestead, land, and the housing as well. So what they do, they take temporary shelter in the embankment of the roadside, which is not their land. It is sometimes it is government land or cash land, government-owned land, or sometimes it is private land. So they are living in these temporary settings without having basic needs and rights. And these people are our main target population in the two sub-districts. But besides this, we are dealing these displacement issues, the loss and damage. So we are actually doing advocacy so that government and relevant stakeholder come forward to deal this issue as a durable solution. And before conducting the project and before implementing the project in the field area, we had a small survey in the project area. And in this project, we have found that cyclone, coastal erosion, and flood are the major causes of the displacement of this in this particular location. And till now, when actually we started in 2019, we found that the 15,000 people as hello, can you hear me?
Yes, we can still hear you.
Okay. So when actually we conducted the survey, we found that the 15,000 people is still living in the temporary setting, as I mentioned earlier, who are called the trapped people. We are calling them the trapped people, and they don't have the basic facilities such as the housing and land, health, sanitation, etc. And among them, we found them that 70% of the household who experienced 2 or more times the displacement. And among them, these displaced people, 50% house displaced people, they are forced to change their occupation. And 95% family, we found that they have the very unhygienic condition of the latrine. As you see in the right of there is a photograph of the latrine. This is the condition of the temporary latrine they are living in the temporary settings. And during the study, we have also found that the 68% people that they want to relocate within their same area because you know that there is a issue of the culture, issue of the social bonding, so they don't want to move far area. So this is one of the findings we found when we started in the initial stage of the project. So this is the basic approach of our work. So in this approach, you can see there is a major 2 approach. One is the supply side, another is the demand side. And also we are doing some planned relocation as a model work. So demand side, we have the major activity in the demand side. In the demand side, the activity include the capacity development of the displaced communities, including the youth, so that actually they are able to claim their rights, as well as we are providing them the alternative skills, so that, because you already know that from our study that the 50% displaced people, they are forced to leave their occupation. So we are providing them some alternative livelihood occupation support through skill development training. So these are the demand side, and the supply side, we are doing some advocacy and campaign activities, including the one-to-one advocacy with the local duty bearers, local administrator, so that they can come forward with the right-based solution to this climate displacement. And finally, we are doing some model planned relocation. We are calling that the community-based planned relocation program. This is the one of the to actually give them some scope to live in the better housing condition with durable solutions. So this is the model work to show government and other community this work better, so they can come forward with this type of model work. So this is our approach, and with this approach, and here you can see, as I mentioned, there is a different type of activity we are doing in measuring three approaches. In the demand side, I will just show you some pictures. I will not go to the detail. Just you can see and you can get some sense what we are doing and what is happening in the grassroots. So in this demand side, you can see that we are doing court-year meeting with the displaced communities, so that they can be the resilience with this changing situation, also giving them some information, including the services available surrounding their area and the government and other duty bearers, and how they can communicate with them and how they can best support from this service from this authority. And also you can see the right side, we are doing meeting with the youth forum. We are working as a change agent with the community people. And the bottom, you can see we are conducting the training with the young people of this particular place. And this slide, you can see we are doing meeting with the community team. And here I would like to mention here that this community team, member of the community team, all come from the displaced community. Those have the volunteerism mentality. Those are interested to lead the community to do some bigger campaign. So we are finding those people from this displaced communities, and we form the community team. And after forming that community team, we are providing the training to the community team so that they can show their leadership. They can come forward with their volunteerism. For this reason, we are giving them the capacity development support after forming this community team. So this community team is the center of all our activities, because if we want to do some specific work in this community, because demand is very high and supplies is very limited. So it is sometimes very hard to find out the real household to provide the services of the to link this with the services. But community team actually doing this hard job, and they are supporting us to find out the real household and to link them with the different services, also providing them directly input support or other services from our market as well. And this is also the demand side, as I mentioned, the alternative livelihood. You can see some picture here that we are providing the training to the displaced community, particularly our most of the training recipients are the 90% training recipients are the female, and they are getting the tailoring training. And you can see the upper level to picture on the tailoring training, and the bottom you can also see that driving training on the driving, and on the bottom in the right side you can see that we are providing the training on the goat rearing. So this training actually we have selected based on the our need assessment finding, as well as the feasibility assessment in these particular places. After the training, we are providing the input support through involving the local administration and local elected bodies, and we are handing over the different input like as the tailoring. You can see they are working in the after training, they are actually successfully completing the training. They are doing this, taking the order and doing this job. And another is we are after the successful training from the on the goat rearing, we have provided them the goat. One goat, you can see the one goat is actually gradually increasing, and they are doing better. And also, as I mentioned in the earlier, that most of the all the people, who are the trapped people, who are living in the temporary setting, that their housing condition is very poor. So we come forward with the limited our efforts with the support of the Climate Resilience Fund to give them some sorts of material, housing material to them. And we are also involved with the local administration and local elected body to handing over this material. And you can see some picture, we have provided this support with the very vulnerable household. And water and sanitation is the one of the big issue in this area. And as per our findings, we have seen 9% household, they are actually using the unhygienic latrine. And so we had some initiative to provide some sanitary latrine. You can see some picture also. You can see in the bottom, we have installed the safe water deep table, and people are actually getting water from this water point. And this water is a big crisis in this coastal area of in the two sub-districts. And we are also from the supply side, we are doing some activities in the local level and the national level. In the local level, we are organizing the different meeting and orientation program with the relevant stakeholder. Also through our advocacy partner, we are doing some, we have done and doing some activities in the national level as well. And we have also conducted the youth champions of the environment program. In the last year, we have organized around 200 youths with this event, and we have provide the award to the selected youth who have come with the nice solution to face the climate change. And under the so doing some one-to-one meeting as well on the important relevant stakeholder. And after the capacity building and different types of orientation program, community team and the youth community, they are organizing themselves to claim their rights. You can see in that they are organizing the human chain in the top left. They are in the top right. You can see that they are handing over the vulnerable community list to their local in the Upajala administration. They are in the bottom right. You can see that they are handing over the memorandum letter to the local member of parliament, where actually all of sorts of demand is written in this memorandum letter. And after they are building their capacity, they come forward with some action. So this is the symbol action. They are doing regularly different type of discussion and public hearing in the community level, as well as the different type of procession and communicating with the different local elected bodies for their rights. And this is the event with the media personnel. In the local level, we have oriented the local media personnel so that they can come forward to write the problem of their community in the local newspaper, as well as to work as a change agent for their community. And the bottom, you can see through our advocacy partner, we have organized the capacity building event in the national level as well. So this is the result of the orientation and the capacity building support to the media. So this is, there is a some source, which is the electronic and both paid media cover different sorts of a story. So finally, we are working for the model work, as I mentioned. You can see here, though these are the very limited, but our intention is to show that solutions to this climate displacement. As you know that in Bangladesh, there are different type of housing program is going on. So program, master place program. But there is this is a very good thing from the government, but still there is some need improvement in respect of the selection of the people, selection of the locations, providing the all sorts of and into all sorts of services as well as to durability of the housing. So for this reason, actually, our intention is to provide them to relocate them within the community so that they can merge with the community and they can live forward, maintaining the social cohesion with the community. You can see there is we are just giving the two family. Yes, you can see the left side is the previous condition of the house where actually they lived in the roadside, and now they are the relocated family. You can see in the right side, and in the both two family we are actually so far we have relocated the 8 families, and this year and the coming year. This year we are and the coming year we are also relocating the more 8 families under the support of the Climate Justice Resilient Fund. So, so main question is what is the changes after this type of
progress.
After this type of project implementation. So, though we have shown some picture that you can see some changes from the picture, but in a nutshell, I can see you can see here we have one of the contributor to approve the national strategy on the management of the displaced disaster and climate internal listener. This is the one of the strategy of the government, and along with the different CSOs, we are also the one of the campaigner to approve this strategy for the sake of the internal displaced people. And we have found that the community are very able to communicate with their relevant duty, because before our intervention, they have fear to communicate or face talk to face with the local duty bearer and the local administrator, but they are now very frequent to communicate with the relevant authority. And we have found that the youth are very much proactive to work with the vulnerable population, because youth, we have formed the team. They are not only the displaced coming from the displaced household, they are also the local youth who have not faced the displacement situation, but they are also come forward as a change agent for the community. They are doing work to the support to the community team so that both can come forward for claim their right from the relevant authority. And we have observed that the government official come forward to the rights of the displaced people. As an example, they are seeking list, vulnerable people list from us, and through community team and the youth community, we have sharing the local vulnerable people list to the government, relevant government authority. And we have also observed that as though this was very limited support, we provided the training around the 60 people, and among them we see that the average income of these people who have received the alternative livelihoods, particularly in the tailoring and the goat rearing training, their monthly income increased by BDT 3,000 taka, which USD is the $30 monthly basis. And as we have also provided the same water and sanitation support, so a number of displaced people, they are availing the safe water and the sanitation support. And through the input support, a number of displaced people also living in the better housing condition than before. And finally, through the 8 household, we have relocated around 50 people who have been relocated with other basic facilities as a durable solution, because they are living in a community, and this community, they have the very good bondage, and surrounding community people, they are taking safe water from the relocated household, because we have provided the deep table to this household, because this area water crisis is very high. And there is some lesson learned. So we have found the community people are very potential. They know their problem, and they can also solve this problem if we provide them the proper support and facilitation. And for any type of sustainable type of work, for sustainable impact, engagement of the community is very much essential. Otherwise, it cannot be sustained. And creating a scope for the alternative livelihood displaced people can protect mass migration to the urban cities. You know that the urban, when the people migrate to the urban city, they are it's not better than before, because the lots of things happening surrounding them, and they are not getting the decent job as well, and they are actually leaving the citizen in the urban area. So, so to protect the migration, we should, if we can cope in the livelihood in the rural area, this migration can be protected. And as I mentioned earlier, the community very much key to actually implement such type of process, because they are actually supporting all sorts of things, and they're the key for selecting the vulnerable household for the relocation of the sustainable solution. And community, we have found that the community planned relocation is the durable solution that comes for displacement. And we have also had some challenges. Because you know that for every work there is some, you know that the land is the very crucial in Bangladesh. So when actually we try to buy the land, so we face some difficulties because of the legal dispute of the land. So to procure the dispute land is very much challenging, but we are coping these challenges through our legal advisor, and we are actually in this issue through this way. And sometimes when government have some big program on the road expansion or the embankment expansion, actually displaced people, those are in the temporary setting, they are evicted further. So this is the one of the challenges. And to find them further, to track their record, previous record, and to see their growth after our intervention is very difficult if they evict and move to the other places. And physical communication, as you know that we are working in the island area. In the monsoon season, physical communication is very much tough. So this is the one of the challenge. And sometimes during the household selection, we have some, you know, that there is some political pressure, local political pressure. They want to include their own people. So this type of pressure sometimes we face, but as we are actually doing everything the support of the community, so we are nicely dealing with issues as we are showing them. We are not actually selecting people. Their community selecting them. And if there is any gap, you can just ask us. So through this way, we are actually mitigating the gap. And big challenge is our actual intervention only providing the limited type of population, only very small group of people, but the demand is very high. As I mentioned, that the 15,000 people is still actually living in the temporary setting in the 2 sub-districts. So, but our intervention is very low. So this is the one of the big challenges. So that's all from my part. I will stop here, and I will answer if there is any crucial question or suggestion. You are very much welcome to participate. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Shahjahan. I guess I can start off asking a question, if that's all right, and would encourage others to join in and ask their questions. But Shahjahan, I wanted to understand a little bit more about the community teams, and when they're identifying the households that are most in need, do they also identify the intervention, you know, whether the family should be relocated or given livelihood support or any other, like, you know, should they have access to sanitation services, or do they just identify the community members or the households that are most in need, and then YPSA, you know, identifies what the intervention should be? And then, you know, following on from that, I'm just curious whether there are households that receive multiple interventions, you know, they're relocated and they're given livelihood support, or does YPSA try and sort of spread out the different interventions across the community so that, you know, so the number of households that benefit are increased, and, you know, different households have access to different interventions? Thank you.
Thank you, Aisha. It was very much relevant question. Community team, as I mentioned, the community team is the center of it, because with our support of the community team, it is very hard to deal with this very much. I think the big problem, as our intervention only providing the only providing the 50 household alternative livelihood training. But the household is the people almost the 15,000. So this is the very much challenging. So for the region, our strategy is to first we forming the community team in each location. We have identified some very much hotspots within this sub-district, and each sub-district we have already we have the 10 community team, and each community team after forming we have provided the capacity building support. So and one of the condition is that community cannot expect anything from them. They can suggest for other. So this is the one of the, if there is any vulnerable community member household within the community, it is exceptional. They can suggest for them as well. But mostly they are actually recommending for the other people. So what they do, as I mentioned, they are not only selecting the people for the relocation. They are we share our project intervention. Because before designing, we consulted with the community team what type of problem they have and how we can solve this problem, how we can contribute to solve this problem. So based on this, we have designed our program, and after designing the program, when we were going to implement, we discussed everything with the community team, what type of intervention we have. But suppose at present, we need to identify the household for the alternative livelihood. Then we share some criteria with them, and they sit together. And we just mentioned them that within this community, we will only select the 4 people, and they suggest 10 people to us. And then we can also cross-check with our staff through the house-to-house visit. And through this way, we have selected the household member for the training. And samely, for the support of the sanitation support, samely, we talk to them and we give them some criteria, and they sit together and they provided support to select this household as well. And one thing is mentioned here, we are not giving any double support to any household, because our support is very limited only. When actually we are relocating any household, 8 household, we are providing them the alternative livelihood and housing shelter support, housing support, including this is the 2-room, 2-bedroom, 1 veranda, 1 kitchen room, 1 sanitary latrine, and the 1 water point. So this is the physical structure for them. And beside this, what we are doing with them, we are giving them alternative livelihood support, and we are also linkage them with the local education institution, local elected bodies, so that they can support from them. And particularly, we are linking them for the social safety net program as well. Already some people already got the social safety net brought under the social safety net program of the existing government. So these are the modality. I don't think I miss anything from your question.
No, thank you. That was very, very helpful. We have another question in the chat about whether you carried out a baseline study before the intervention, which would allow for a final evaluation to be carried out at the end of the project. And I'm wondering if you can answer that. Thank you.
This is thank you, Aisha. We did not actually conduct the formal baseline, but as I mentioned, that we had one study where actually we tried to find out the basic needs of them. And but in some intervention, you can see, suppose the alternative livelihood support, the alternative livelihood support, we conducted the need assessment, and in this need assessment, we have collected their baseline status before the intervention, what is their condition. But entirely, throughout the intervention and we did not actually conduct the formal baseline study, but for our intervention, particularly for the alternative livelihood, we had the intervention and we had the baseline information, and based on this, actually, we have highlighted then average income of the alternative livelihood support receiver increased by the 3,000 BDT. And other intervention you can see in the housing material support. This is the very much actually visual and sanitation support, because there is no sanitation support and there poor sanitation support. And we have the picture before what is the condition of the sanitation facility before our intervention and what is the after intervention. So we have that photograph as a evidence of the baseline evidence. Thank you.
Thank you, Shadran. I'd request anyone else who has questions or comments to weigh in now. You can just raise your hand or speak. Oh, thanks, Constant. I see your suggestion in the chat. Thank you for that. Ashish, please come in.
Nice to hear from the evening.
Equality Bahamas is a feminist organization promoting women.
Sorry, I think
Okay.
2%.
Alicia, go ahead.
No, sorry, you go ahead. You go ahead.
Okay.
Oh, first
Shajan
Ashish, please.
Yeah, thank you, Shajan Bhai, for the nice presentation. Actually, nice to learn about your program. So I was just curious about the housing support program. That's a really a crucial support on the ground. Okay, and you have also brought the experiences of our government program as well, right? Shelter program and housing program, which we often see that fails because of comprehensiveness, because livelihood is the key priority. People are not interested to go to the shelter in an isolated place. Here, your approach is really appreciating that you have done it within the community, right? As per I understood, you mentioned it. So Shajan Bhai, we also had same types of interventions, especially after the the southwest coast. One of the challenges we have experienced that's around the land issues, because you also mentioned about land. So I'm just curious how you are facilitating the process for the land for housing support. That's the first point. Second one, not question, but yeah, the climate-induced displacement and migration has been a really crisis, and we always look it with the lens of human rights, where actually we know that government of Bangladesh does not have any type of interventions till now. So, and as I know that you also been part of our ongoing UPR revision, right? Universal Periodic Review. So I understand that you will be bringing these cases as evidences for that report. Okay? Thank you, Shajan Bhai, for that.
Yeah. Thank you, Ashish. Thank you very much for your compliment and your question. Particularly your question is very much relevant. This land is very crucial issue in Bangladesh, and you will see many land surrounding you. But when you're going to buy land, and that time you will realize how difficult to buy the dispute-free land. In Bangladesh, as a Bangladeshi, you are well aware about this situation, because sometimes land is very suitable place, but their legal paper is not the appropriate. So when we come to procure the land, after the services, we just left back. So this is one of the issue, and I think with this question, you have also raised the question about this our housing program side by side with the government program. I would say we had one actually a small study in our own initiative to see what is the condition of the government Guchchugram or cluster village program. We have seen that, and we have already and many government officials already they also they also share the experience with us as well. After providing them the housing support in the some particular places, 50% or the 30% left within this 1 year. We don't know why it is, but there is a many reason. as per my understanding, one of the main reason is the location of the housing is not the suitable place. You will see, because the government have also the land scarcity, government try to find the land from the karstland area. So they identified the land in the very isolated place. And in the Bangladesh, most of the suitable land are grabbed by the political musclemen. And for the reason, government don't want to actually disturb them, and government identify some land in the very solitary area and very scattered area in the hilly area. So government provided them the housing support in this area, but when they actually start to living, they don't have the other facilities like the other services. And this is the very isolated place. And sometimes when mass people relocated at a time in the some area, surrounding people, they don't accept them. They always, they further actually fall into stigmatization. So this is the one of the reason. And you can ask me how we actually realize this is the previous relocation project. One to family is the very much durable. We learn from the nature, we learn from it from the community. If I give you an example, if Ashish and me both are living in the coastal area, and due to the coastal erosion, due to the sea level rise, we both actually lost our land and house. Ashish is the well off and I am the very poor. Ashish buy the land in the nearby community and he has started living there, and he is very much sustainably and maintaining the local cohesion with the local community, and she is living very, very nicely. But as I poor, I had to take shelter with the temporary setting. So from this perspective, we are from the learning, we are implementing our program, and we are just providing the tools and taking the support to the displaced households, so that they can stay in the community with dignity through the support of the land and the housing. I think I've been able to explain your question, and Ashish.
Yep. Thank you, sir.
And I think Alicia.
Yes, thank you so much. I'm really interested in how you have engaged with people with different identities. So have you had direct engagement with women and girls in the community, or people who are having different experiences because of who they are, because of their identities?
Here, I would like to mention here that before starting this intervention from 2019, with the short support from the Climate Justice Resilience Fund, we have developed some strategy, which include the community engagement and outreach strategy, advocacy strategy, campaign strategy, risk management strategy. So through this strategy, actually everything is mentioned is there. We are following this strategy when actually we are going to select the community people and a different class of people, so that we can ensure the mass representation of the all class of people. You know that as per our strategy, we are also giving the due importance to some most vulnerable people, like the persons with disabilities. So this is when actually we are selecting the household, we are giving this criteria to the community team that they can consider, they can give priority to those households which has the member of the person who is disabled. So through this way and through our developed strategy, we are actually dealing this issue and getting the regular support from our community team member, and they are actually helping us to implement and selecting the people. Thank you.
Thank you, Shahjan. Does anyone else have any questions or would like to weigh in?
I think one of the questions from the Constant, Dr. Constant, he actually, this is actually a recommendation to use the Kobo tool. I think, yes, when actually we are, this is the very good suggestion. And when we are now taking data from the progress data from the community, we are using the Kobo tool. Thank you, Dr. Constant.
Shahjan, if I may, I have one other question, and
Sure, sure.
it's sort of related to the conversation in the chat about learning and evaluations. And I'm curious, part of what YPSA is doing is trying to feed this learning into local government and national government. And I'm just curious how that's going. How do you feel like there is interest and there's good receptivity that this is something that might be able to influence what the government does, especially with the land, the availability of land for relocation? Or do you feel it's really an uphill battle and there's a lot of pushback from the government?
Yes, you know that the country like Bangladesh, it is always challenges to directly work with the high-level government authority, because sometimes to get the appointment is take also time. But to recover these challenges, we form in the, as here Ashish is here, he is also the part of our national campaign. We around 30 like-minded organization who are working the climate change issue. We have a CSO forum in the national level, and we are actually working on the different type of issue. And at present, in the last 2 weeks, we had one good conversation on which is actually helped us providing the technical support, financial and the CPRD, our advocacy partner. They are working as a co-facilitator with this initiative. So universal periodic review, we are going to submit the universal periodic review on the climate change issue. And we have already had good discussion, capacity building support from the technical person. And now we are preparing some, we had a very good group work. So find out some output. And based on this, we are now preparing this paper. And after this, we will actually sit together again to summarize it and to submit as part of universal periodic review. So our issue on the climate change and climate vulnerability, and here loss and damage issue come very much strongly, and we are focusing on this issue, and our housing and land crisis issue also I think highlighted in this our discussion. And for the land issue in the local level, there is some land of government-owned land, which is called the cash land in Bengali word. There is a two type of cash land. One is the agricultural cash land, another is the non-agricultural cash land. Agricultural cash land normally distribute to the poor people. And we had long advocacy and campaign, and we are also giving the information to the community people that they can apply for the cash land. But problem is that most of the cash land is occupied by the musclemen and the politically influenced people. So this is sometimes challenges. But beside this, government, not this area, but other area in the Shitakun area where we are working, government has come forward to provide some land to build the house for the displaced people through the private sector initiative. But we are trying to, because in the Baskali and particularly in the Kutubdi Island, there is a scarcity of the land. And Khastan is very limited there because the land is squeezing day by day. But in Baskali, we are trying to actually convince the, this is the one of our agenda of the one-to-one advocacy with the Lebanon Authority. So government can provide the cash land to the displaced community, particularly the displaced community, so that they can build house through the support from the others. So this land is always actually difficult to mobilize from the government, and as well as to procure the land as well. Land is a very crucial issue in Bangladesh. But in other sector, there is some social safety net program and the other sorts of support from the government. But government is very convinced. Last time when actually Hillary visited us, Hillary talked to the people, youth community and the community member. They have actually handed over the community list to the relevant authority of the local administration. And this is the one of the actually positive sign of the government. And government asks us to submit this vulnerable populations list to that. So we think that there will be some result in the near future. And if there is a result, good result, we will actually document it for our reporting. Over.
Thanks so much. That's really helpful. We have a few minutes left. Does anyone else have any questions or reflections?
Hilary, if we have time, just I can add some elements in addition to Shahjahan Bhai's comment. So Shahjahan Bhai has rightly mentioned about how actually influencing the policymakers at local level, regional level as well. At national level, as Shahjahan Bhai referred about our CSOs collaborations. So a number of organizations are working all together, and we have really a good success. Okay, so when we have started our journey targeting COP27, we have started actually developing our positions paper from the Bangladeshi CSOs. We facilitated the whole process, including the policymakers. It was a long journey. And interestingly, it attracted a lot of attention, both government and other political parties as well. So the final result is that, in fact, at the end of December, after the COP27, with the CSOs collaborations, we are invited by the Parliamentary Standing Committee to present our CSOs position paper. And a good, interesting result is that they are now currently looking at both positions papers by the government and the CSOs, and they're trying to understand where are the gaps and where to improve. And in the meeting, I was also luckily there. They had a good commitment that for COP28, when they will start articulating the positions paper from the government, they will also invite us in the discussion. So they will consult with us. So we hope that this will give us a wider scope to influence the policymakers and government decisions around the climate change discussion. So that another scope or window where we have the opportunity to influence that decision making. Thank you. Thank you, Shahjahan Bhai, and thank you, Larry.
Thanks so much, Ashish. That's really helpful and inspiring to hear. And Heather's requested if you or Shahjahan wouldn't mind putting a link to the paper in the chat, that would be very helpful.
Yes, sure. Heather, you know that in the COP27, you got one our CSO's position to the COP27, and we are also developing one paper for the our UPR. So we will definitely share this paper with you. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Well, thank you so much, Shahjahan. This was a really informative session, and we very much appreciate you sharing the details of how the project has gone, what has worked, what has been challenging, and it's really interesting to see how it's all connecting up and feeding into advocacy at much higher levels. So thank you to the whole YPSA team, and especially to Shahjahan for sharing your experience with us today. And thanks also to all of you who joined us and participated in the session and asked questions. Next month, we will have another solution series, and this will be by an organization called Doc Society. It's on April 19th, and I'm just going to put the registration in the chat so that you can register for that if you would like. Doc Society is a nonprofit that is committed to the power of documentary films in order to engage and connect people, transform communities, and improve societies. So if you're able, please join us for that meeting. And thank you again. And I hope everybody has a great rest of your day.
And thank you very much. Thank you all, particularly Hilary and the others who have participated and your patience to hear me. Oh, thank you very much. Hope to see you in another event. Thank you. Bye.
Thank you, Shahjahan. Bye.
Thanks, everyone. Bye-bye.
Bye. Bye.